Hello, my name is Donald, and as you can tell by my coat, I am indeed a scientist. Join me as I test the known truths of the universe and see whether or not they uphold to my astute observation. Gravity, the force that ties us all to the Earth. But when was the last time scientists took a deep look at it to determine whether or not it actually exists? That's right, back in 1687 when Sir Isaac Newton discovered this invisible force. Now, gravity is defined as the force that attracts a body towards the center of the Earth or towards any other physical body having mass. Also, it is indicating extreme importance or seriousness. As this is a show of science and not grammatical whimsy, we'll be focusing on the first definition. Now, the way we'll be running our experiment today is firstly, we'll do our best to replicate the original experiment by Sir Isaac Newton. Secondly, we will test the force that attracts a body towards the center of the Earth with other objects and see if the evidence supports the original experiment. Lastly, we'll test if there's a gravitational pull between any other physical body having mass. And then, of course, we'll review the results and determine whether or not gravity does indeed exist. Let us begin. Hello. As you can see, I've placed myself beneath a tree. Unfortunately, I do not live near an apple tree to wait for an apple to fall on my head. So during this process of the replication of the experiment, we will run into something that's known as acceptable scientific error. I will be throwing apples up to replicate the experiment and have one land on my head. Let us begin. Ow. I had 5. I lost an apple. Oh, there it is. Okay. Ow! Woo! Apples are not soft. Not a soft fruit. Ow. Okay, so for this part, Isaac was right. Gravity works for apples. We're now on phase 2 of our experimentation. At this point, I will drop each of these individual items and see if we can replicate the events that occurred outside. We will begin with an apple. As we can observe, gravity still affects the apple. This is a perfect replication of our previous experiment. Let us move on to the notebook. Interesting. As you may have noticed, the notebook did not bounce. It fell and stayed put where gravity had affected it. This proposes an interesting scientific inquiry. Does gravity affect things differently? Let's proceed with the experiment with the sheet of paper. Very interesting. As we were able to observe, the sheet of paper fell slower down to the surface. As with the notebook, it did not bounce, but at the same time, it seemed like gravity had a less strong grip on it until it reached its destination. Lastly, let's observe gravitational effects on a tennis ball. Holy sh**. This is astounding. It appears gravity has a very limited effect on the tennis ball. Dare I say, the tennis ball is rejecting the pull of gravity. For our final phase of the experiment, we'll observe whether or not there's a gravitational pull between objects. Stage 1, 2 sheets of paper. No gravitational pull is observed between 2 sheets of paper. Stage 2, 2 glasses. Once again, no gravitational pull is observed between the glasses. Stage 3, 2 tennis balls. I'm going to do that again because I believe some minor gravitational pull was observed at the beginning of that phase. Yes, without question, there is minor gravitational pull, which is not surprising considering we have observed that tennis balls ignore gravity. Final stage, 2 apples. We have just observed the most gravitational pull between 2 objects we have seen thus far. Notice once again that there appears to be a difference between the objects on whether or not they exhibit their own gravitational pull. Take that, Isaac Newton! As we have observed, there's indeed a force that acts upon the objects of the earth. However, it does not appear to be consistent or affect all objects equally. At this point, we would say that gravity does exist, but we would like to put an asterisk next to it and also say sort of. So moving forward, whenever you refer to gravity, we would prefer that you put quotations around the word to indicate its unclear status. Once again at Donald Does Science Labs, we are very happy to have increased the knowledge of the known universe. Next week, we'll run an experiment whether or not the Big Bang did indeed create the universe. Until then, as always, question everything.